Hey guys, Jason here from Wavtech, and I'm here to tell you about 5 unique features of all of our LOCs and line drivers. Feature number 1, dual input range with ideal gain structure. So dual input range came about from our approach to create an ideal gain structure that addresses the entire market, everything from aftermarket low-level signals all the way up to the highest voltage factory amplified systems. And in order to do that, you can't just have one gain knob that just goes from 0 to light. It would be super touchy, it would have horrible noise, and it wouldn't be usable. There are some other out there like that, but you have to turn them 3/4 of the way up to get any gain out of it at all. Whereas ours, you can turn it almost all the way down and get really strong output from most OEM systems. So the dual input range gives you the flexibility to get the gain range tailored to what the signal you're using is, and keep the noise as low as possible. So you get a crystal clear sound, no noise floor whatsoever, and you get that dynamic range and the full use of your volume knob going all the way up to where before it starts distorting. So you get the maximum volume range and the best sound quality out of your system. Feature number 2, built-in loading. So built-in loading, we were the first brand to put it in every single one of our processors, our LOCs and line drivers from the very beginning. And the reason we did that is because actually loading has been an issue going back, more than a decade, if not longer than that, with some European vehicles. And it's become more and more common today, but we built it into every unit for 2 main reasons. One is so it just works. If it's the appropriate amount of loading for the factory load detect system, it's just going to work. If it doesn't work, then you just need a little bit more than we have built in. But we address vast majority of the vehicles. There are only a few corner cases that need a little bit more, and we have a little accessory for that. But the other reason we do that is because a lot more factory systems are going to Class D, and if you understand anything about Class D amplifier stages or chipsets, they require a load on the output for the filter to work. And if you don't give them some kind of load, that high frequency switching noise just comes through your whole audio system and sounds horrible. It's a high frequency hiss, and it sounds terrible. So we have the loading on by default in all of our models, but it is defeatable by some jumpers for each channel on the insides of all of our LOCs. Feature number 3, simultaneous auto turn on. So another unique feature to Wavtech is our simultaneous auto turn on. Unlike all other turn-ons out there that you have to choose whether you want DC or remote, most of them don't even have audio detect, but or audio. Ours are on simultaneously. They're actually 2 jumpers right by the power supply. They're both on by default. That allows you to just not worry about what kind of factory source you have. It's going to turn on either from detecting the audio signal in cases where there is no DC offset from a normal BTL chipset like Class D systems or a high voltage amplifier system. It's going to detect the audio. And then on the DC offset, it's detecting the DC bias that most factory radios have that if they're a traditional BTL chipset. So it's a convenience, but it's also allows us to have the best turn on in the market because it's going to work. Feature number 4, independent channel summing. So another unique feature to Wavtech is particularly in our summing processors, the Link 4, 6, and 8 is something we call independent channel summing. And what that means is you can get output out of every channel of RCAs, no matter what kind of signal you're putting into it. Everything from 2-channel all the way up to using all of the inputs, say on a Link 8, which is a 4-way system. So at each input, you get a summing capability that you can sum a 2-way to a full range, or a 3-way in the case of this Link 6 to full range. But then you still have the ability to reroute that full range signal that normally would only come out of 2 channels back to the channel 1, 2 output. So you can still retain sub-level control and have full range of output. But the independent channel summing is summing down. So at each stage, you can use that output. So say, for example, the factory high pass crossover was at a usable point. You can still use that channel 1, 2 output for your tweeters. In any other system out there, you only get 2 channels of output no matter how many channels of input you put in, because it sums to 2 channels. Ours don't work like that. Ours are totally flexible. And frankly, one of the extremely unique features is you can actually retain fader as well in this case. So say if you have a factory 2-way front, you can actually sum that, get a full range out of it, and still have the rears separate so the customer can retain the use of their fader. Feature number 5, line driver. So at Wavtech, because all of our LOCs are true preamps, they are also line drivers. And what I mean by that is they can put out well over 10 volts of RMS. voltage output from any signal input, low level or high voltage from a factory amplified system. And that gives you the ability to turn all of the gains down on your amplifiers, which directly corresponds to dynamic range, and the best dynamic range you've ever heard, the full volume range on your factory radio, without overboosting the signal and amplifying the noise. The noise is pushed way down, the lowest noise floor you've ever heard, and it drives your amplifier to full output with its gain all the way down. So the signal and noise is the best that you can get from that amplifier. So because all of these are preamps, they're also all line drivers, and you get the best sound quality you can ever have from whatever source is connected to it. Once again, guys, Jason here at Wavtech. I've just given you 5 unique features, and there's a lot more to discover, so please visit us at our website at wavetech-usa.com.